Hello, and welcome to the ADHD Advocacy Project. I'm George, professionally diagnosed sufferer from ADHD. ADHD is only one of my medical conditions, but it is one I've decided to focus on advocating for due to a specific cultural element I've seen that makes ADHD not have the same type advocacy that other health conditions have, like, for example, type 1 diabetes, which I also have. There's a lot of cultural beliefs about the amount of self control that someone might have over ADHD symptoms that is not given to other health conditions. I'm also an attorney. Though I am an attorney, I do not provide legal advice on this channel, but I try and use that legal um, expertise to add some context to why matters are happening. I previously have worked for the Florida Department of Health in prosecution of healthcare practitioners for um, substandard substandard health practices, and have been working with experts in health matters. I also know some things about other health matters in business and IP law that give me some context that other people might not have. My father was also a documentary filmmaker. Because of that, I have my own interest in the intersection of media and the law. And as time has gone on, I've come to see how that intersection also affects healthcare, at least in the United States. I felt strongly the need to make this video because I'm also a third generation graduate of Florida State University. Um, it's the recent shooting at Florida State and the coverage of it that has prompted me to finally start posting on this channel. As that is something I wanted to address immediately, please ignore my lack of understanding for some technical limitations and my attempts to work around those. In particular, one of the things that has upset me was the April 19th episode of ABC's World News Tonight that tried to put much emphasis on the shooter's diagnosis of ADHD and growth development issues. That comes almost entirely from a 10-year-old document regarding a police case in which the subject's mother had violated a custody order, and the health conditions of the shooter were mentioned in passing. And what upsets me in particular about that is because there's a lot more important factors in what made this shooter into who he is. And I say that because not only am I a third generation graduate of Florida State University, and somebody who has family that have taught at Florida State University, but I also attended Lincoln High School, where the shooter went for high school. I lived in Tallahassee for the last 3 years of my high school days, and my siblings attended Lincoln as well, and also I believe the middle school that he attended. And there are a number of cultural elements here that are both specific to Tallahassee and go into the general nationwide culture that we currently have. And I do not like ADHD being used as a scapegoat here. And I feel like I have to present the counter narrative, because if we don't pay attention to what's happening and how it's happening, first of all, we're going to see things like this over and over again, as we have. For the most part, shootings aren't considered very big news at this point. They will often be the secondary story. But part of that, it's the way the news reports on these shootings, in ways that both encourage the shooter and do not place blame upon the people that are actually creating the environment from which these people are encouraged to take this path. If you're interested, click on the next video, and I am going to try and break this down as best as I can. This will not be, this is not the first attempt I've tried to make of this video. But I, hope to cover it all, as it's not the first attempt to make a video, in part because a little bit of new information I've discovered. However, I will say that ABC News had ample opportunity to have much more information about the shooter and the things that incited his decision to go on a shooting rampage. And instead, they decided to focus on a small amount of information they had about a 10-year-old medical diagnosis. And a 10-year-old medical diagnosis of ADHD doesn't really mean much, because ADHD is a condition that can significantly develop in one fashion or another, and you can learn better how to handle it by a number of techniques. So a 10-year-old diagnosis is about as relevant as any 10-year-old medical diagnosis would be in determining why somebody might have taken an action like this. But I'll go into the details in the following videos. Thank you so much. If you like what I have to say, first of all, please share this information, like, subscribe, all those things, mainly just because I want to get this message out there more, because I feel people are painfully ignorant in the media, in general society, and politically, amongst political ruling class, about what is scientifically correct healthcare. Thank you very much.